Starting a YouTube channel is really hard, and for most people, getting that first 1,000 subscribers is by far the most challenging part of the journey. So then why would you spend months making videos, growing a channel and building a community only to get over 1,300 subscribers and then just completely give up on it and let it die? Sounds absolutely crazy, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what I've done. But hold on a minute. Let me explain, and hopefully you'll understand the logic and my reasons behind it. This is what I'm talking about. It's my gaming channel called The Game Hawk. You may have seen it. It's been featured on my channel for some time now. I first started this channel back in January 2023, and it was actually the first YouTube channel I ever created. And I started after watching a well-known streamer called Fixate playing Call of Duty on YouTube. I really enjoyed watching them play videos, and I love the idea of building a fun community to play games with. So I created my channel and started live streaming Call of Duty playthroughs, but more specifically we played a very particular game mode called DMZ, which is an extraction shooter style game. I live stream this every single day from 8 PM UK time, 6 days a week, and played for 4 to 6 hours a night after my kids had gone to bed. And then I grew this channel from 0 to over 1,300 subscribers in less than a year, built an incredible community, and was making roughly around $500 a month, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it's a fairly decent income for a small YouTuber who's just playing video games with their friends, and it's only going to grow from there. But I met some amazing people and even started doing some collabs with other streamers, like people like Jerry and the Witch, who became personal close friends of mine. But there was a few problems, which meant that for me personally, this just wasn't sustainable long term, which soon became very, very clear to me. And this ultimately led to me making the decision to stop live streaming and then eventually stop uploading to the channel completely. So if you have a gaming channel, or even if you're starting any YouTube channel and are thinking of starting a channel like this, then these are some potential issues that you need to consider. Number one is the streaming consistency. The biggest issue that I had was that I was streaming every night from like 8 PM until about midnight, sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning if I didn't have anything to do the next day. And it would be after I got my kids to bed, they'd have their bedtime routine, I'd make sure they were all settled for the evening, and then I would come in at 8 PM and start streaming. And my community knew that it was like clockwork every night, not every night, but it was probably about 5 to 6 nights a week I was streaming from 8 PM, and they would get ready, I'd do a blast to everyone to notify them that I'm playing, and then I would just stream every single night for 5 to 6 days a week. The problem with that is that it just wasn't sustainable, because I would always wake up tired the next day. I would always go to bed, and then because I was so wired from staring at a bright computer screen and playing these fast-paced games for hours, when I finished and then tried to make the transition to go to bed, I just couldn't do it. So I would then lay there for hours sometimes, trying to sleep, staring at the ceiling, wondering why I can't go to sleep. So that just created a long-term problem for me. The other thing was that if the kids were ill, or that I had to be in work early the next day, then I either had to finish early, or I just couldn't do it and I had to put the stream off. And it just became this rigid routine that I was doing, and what started out as something that was fun and I enjoyed playing video games just become a taxing task and a job rather than just playing it for fun. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a thing that a lot of streamers will go through, but it just created a bigger issue that I just couldn't sustain going forward, and it was just burning me out quite quickly. The second thing was the game mode itself. Now, I tell you all the time that you should have a specific niche and a specific target audience on YouTube, and that is the same for streamers. Now, some of the bigger streamers can get away with playing pretty much any game they want and they will always be followed. But when you have a specific niche, mine wasn't just Call of Duty, it was a very specific game mode in Call of Duty. So when you're playing that specific game mode constantly, and then that game dies, what happens if that game dies? Well, then your channel is kind of going to die with it, or you've got to adapt. And that's exactly what happened. Call of Duty stopped DMZ mode and stopped introducing updates to it. You can still play it now, but it's on the older version of the game. So when they stopped it and they released the latest game, Modern Warfare 3, and then they've got Black Ops 6 coming out soon, is that they've not included DMZ in any of that. They've just focused heavily on zombies and Warzone and other game modes, which meant that DMZ was just kind of left there to die. So for streamers like me that purely built their audience off of DMZ, you can't really do anything else with it. All you can do is play the same game mode over and over again, and all it is rinse and repeat. There's no new updates, there's no new patches, there's nothing you can really do. So the problem just continued. There was nothing we could really do about it. So I tried to branch out into other game modes. I started playing Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5. I started playing GTA 5 with mods and stuff, and some of them did okay, but the viewership just absolutely tanked and plummeted. And I wasn't the only one that had this. Other streamers had this same issue. And even the bigger streamers like Fixate, because they've built their community off of DMZ, when they start playing Warzone, their numbers of people watching live are like cut in half, because most people just want to watch and play DMZ. So then when you try and branch out into something else, you'll get the hardcore fans will still be there, but other people are just not interested. So that creates a problem. When the game mode dies, your channel kind of dies with it. And that's what kind of happened to me. Number 3 is time management. As I said, I was streaming for 5 to 6 hours a night, and it just wasn't sustainable because I had a job, I've got 2 kids, and I was trying to grow my other channel, this channel, the main channel. And I just couldn't do all of it. I was getting so burnt out and so tired from spending the day making YouTube videos for this channel, and then the evening streaming until midnight or 1 in the morning, and then getting up and going early to work. It was just too much, and I just couldn't do it. And I found that there was evenings that I was spending away from my kids, away from my family, just streaming in here like a 20-year-old playing video games. I just couldn't do it. It wasn't a long-term thing that I could sustain. And those 5-6 hours I could either be spending with my family or making videos for this channel. So I had to, in the end, there was a whole host of things that happened, and there was one more thing, and it just led to this channel sort of dying. And the last one was the actual business vision. I knew that I had a passion for filmmaking, photography, for content creation, for tech reviews, filming gear, and YouTube education, helping people grow on YouTube and sharing my journey and documenting my whole experience on YouTube. That is what I wanted my main vision to be going forward. And I have a roadmap of what I want to do, and gaming was just kind of a hobby that fitted into that, but it wasn't something I could do long term. So a combination of all of these things, the consistency of having to do it 5 to 6 days a week for 5 to 6 hours a night, the actual game mode like dying and there being no new updates for it, which meant that I was limited on what I could play and how I could continue going forward. The time management of being able to try and fit absolutely everything in, and then eventually the business vision, I just couldn't keep everything going. So all of these reasons just eventually led to me thinking, do you know what? I just cannot do it anymore. This channel is just going to have to sit there. And if a new game comes out that I really want to play and I want to share that with people, then I will probably make videos on it. But live streaming for 5-6 hours a night, I just can't do it anymore. It's just not something that's achievable for me. So yes, I was making some money from it. Yes, I built an amazing community. And yes, I'd grown a channel to well over 1,000 subscribers. But it's just not something that I could personally sustain going forward. And you need to understand that as well. Whatever niche you're in, whatever YouTube channel you're in, you need to make sure that your niche has longevity and it can continue. Because in the gaming niche, if a game changes or dies, then your channel is going to suffer as well. So you need to have that sort of understanding and make sure your business and your channel has that longevity. It's a good thing about filmmaking and studio gear and YouTube education. It's always going to grow. It's always going to be going. There's always new things that you need to talk about and adapt to. And it's something I am personally very passionate about. So that has longevity. Playing DMZ, not longevity. So if you're going to grow any sort of channel, make sure you consider these points. And now you understand why I gave up a gaming channel that had over 1,300 subscribers and was making some half decent money. And if you are on a YouTube train and you want to make sure that YouTube doesn't ruin your life, then please watch this video up here, because there's some things you need to consider with that. And while you're here hovering, just waiting around, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.